hello, my name is Kira. Sorry it's been such a long time on the Castlevania videos. First Netflix wasn't letting me upload like new stuff, and then it was taking down all my old ones, and it's just been a fight to try to like keep anything up at all. So it's been a while. I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to change the format of how I'm doing these a little bit. I'm really just going to have to focus on doing like longer analysis instead of kind of by the moment reactions. Hey, I'm sure there are reactors out there who have managed to make the stupid copyright thing work with them, and you can get, the gasps and ahs and ooh, that was cool from them. I'm just gonna have to focus on I don't know, kind of any deeper analysis that I might think of as I go along. So let's just get started, shall we? Like I said, I'm just gonna have to cut this so that really you only get the idea of what part I'm talking about, and then I'll talk about it.
Live start! Look out!
Okay, so that was running water, right? That was running water. The fact that the vampires do not understand their own mythology is so funny to me. It's just so funny. What happens? Yeah, that certainly seemed like running water. It's just, oh man, they're so contradictory. The idea of vampires alone, it's like, why would they need to drink blood if it's like they have this body that is immortal, right? Like, do vampires bleed? Because it would seem like they don't have a heartbeat, they don't have, you would think that the blood would eventually just kind of like coagulate in the veins, because it doesn't need to actually be pumped through the body. It's a dead body. It doesn't need the oxygen. It doesn't need any of that. So you think that if the heart stopped, that the blood would stop going, and then, without something actually moving the blood, a vampire wouldn't even bleed, because there's really nothing except perhaps the blood that is right there in the vein. If I went like that, like the blood that's right there would, come out. But they don't make sense physically. And then it's getting into, so what parts of the vampire do still work? The brain works? Well, that requires, electrons firing, neurons firing in the brain. So I guess those are still working, but the blood isn't. The lungs aren't really going anymore. Why would a steak kill them if the heart has stopped? It's just a mess, really. And I think it's when you have the mythology of vampires coming from all over the world, you just end up with this very interesting conglomeration of what a creature is. But I'm glad to see Godbrand kind of in his element there. It's nice to see him. He's just seemed like such a fool when we first met him. I was just immediately just like, this is an idiot. And then he just continued to show, well, first of all, he went to apologize for what he said. Sorry about any extra noise. It actually gave him some depth, and then he gave the thing about, the war being Dracula's suicide, which was the best summary of, the entire situation. It really shows that I think he's actually got some, like, real, instinct when it comes to, like, emotional intelligence. And then to see him kind of in this moment, that too, I mean, he hunts for the thrill. There is a definite thrill in how he kills people, like riding the one guy like a snowboard before killing him. There is it's kind of, this is going to be like a really weird comparison, or maybe not, but it's like in the scene from, the original animated Mulan, where he's like, how many men are needed to deliver a message? One. And it's like, you just have to guess, did he hit the person who was running first or the one who was running second? Personally, I think he probably would have hit the first who was, he probably hit the person who was running furthest away so that the one would have to actually pass by the body and know that, you know, it could have so easily been him. Otherwise, you're running and maybe you don't realize that the guy behind you hasn't actually caught up. It's that kind of flex. Anyway.
You have the most fascinating family junkyard, Belmont.
You're a cockwart, Alucard.
Stop it.
I have to see how this dynamic is going here because I don't know, it's managing to upset Trevor, but this feels like very half-hearted responses from Alucard. Adrian. I don't know what. I mean, if I remember correctly, and it's been like, you know, a month and a half, but it's like he's been looking at, you know, the family collection that that includes like little child vampire skulls, you know, like this is a very strange collection for him in particular to be standing in, battling that, you know, human versus vampire side of himself and kind of realizing that most people are going to look at him and see vampire. But anyway, I guess I'll see what s2ep4 has to say because, like, you know, that also was very little provocation to get something out of Trevor.
s2ep4.
Grow up, Trevor. You are Treffy now.
Don't.
Please call him. And see, this is just furthering, like, I don't know, I'm worrying about him. I've got two characters in here that I'm really worrying about, like, I'm worried about I'm worrying about, Adrian. I'm worried about Adrian's mental state because he's very blocked off, he's very alone. Those two are off laughing about Trevor, Treffy, whatever it is. He's seeing skulls that look like his. This is a collection of books about how to kill him. The mirror thing reminds me of Dracula's thing, so I'm guessing we're getting some, they're so loud. Possible memories there. But he's very isolated, even in a group of 3. You can also, I know that she doesn't mean badly by it, but the fact that s2ep4 will, like, drag Trevor off and be like, act like an adult, just take the barbs, whatever it is, as opposed to, like, also expecting Adrian to, like, kind of act his age. Which still needs to be explained, actually. I'm still very confused on the timeline of this boy's birth. But you know, I think it's showing. It's really showing that s2ep4 is more comfortable with Trevor. You know, the fact that she'll drag him around and be like, "Oh, you gotta act more mature. Don't answer to his every barb," rather than, you know, oh my God, Adrian / Alucard, would you just, like, leave Trevor alone? He's clearly, like, you know, Trevor. You don't, yeah. Just the. Well, I was talking before about how it was the relationship between s2ep4 and Trevor that felt like it needed to be strengthened. Just this small interaction here is like, it really feels like Adrian started to be the one who's kind of isolated within the group. And you know what? It's partially his own fault. He should stop needling Trevor, but he hasn't done anything to, like, damage a relationship with s2ep4 as far as I know, so we'll see. The other character I'm worried about is Hector, so we'll see how that goes today.
I believe he loved her. He is capable of love. That's the source of his conviction.
If you love something, you act to keep it with you for as long as you can. Instead, he allowed her to be killed by other humans.
He wasn't there.
He wasn't, no. He was traveling like a human at her whim, Not once did he move to protect her. Not once did he consider making her a vampire and bringing her into our community.
So the conversation about how, obviously Dracula didn't actually care about Lisa because he didn't make her into a vampire. And then he left, to go traveling and didn't protect her. It's an interesting one. I wonder if she's like, because Hector, of course, is also human. He doesn't particularly like humanity, but he's also, the reason why I'm worrying about him is not just because of Carmilla, but because, it's like he agreed to this war on the idea that it was basically like a culling, like it would be merciful, and that is the exact opposite of what this entire thing has been. Like, Dracula lied to him, he has reason to be... He has valid reason, I think, to be upset. And he just doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's actually going to go confront Dracula over the whole thing. He just doesn't. But the idea that it's like, oh, well, obviously he didn't care about her, I wonder what his take on the, he believes that Dracula loved Lisa. So is Carmilla going to be able to convince him that, that love would require turning her into a vampire? I don't know. Would that then be showing that, okay, he's only actually appreciated if Dracula turns him into a vampire too? Would Hector even want to be a vampire? This is something that, this seems like it has just never even come up in conversation, right? Because Hector and Isaac get looked down upon because they are not vampires. Presumably, Dracula could have turned them into vampires at any point, and yet they are still human. And it doesn't seem like they have fought to become vampires, or at least we haven't seen any fight towards them wanting to be vampires. So, I don't know. I guess I should just keep watching.
Should this war be prosecuted by a confused man?
I don't know.
You're human, Hector.
Oh, here we go.
You threw in your lot with us because it was your path to greatness.
He promised me that this would be a cull. That humans would be reduced in numbers and controlled.
Okay, yes, he promised me it would be a call. This entire conversation, he is trying to physically get away from her. He's going out into the cold. He's attempting to, flee her at all points. But she is talking in a way that he has to slowly admit does make some sense, that Dracula seems confused. That things aren't going kind of how he promised they would. He is trying to actually physically remove himself from Carmilla and what she is saying. But is she about to say I would turn you into a vampire? Because that's basically what her argument here is that, Dracula's obviously nuts because he didn't turn... Dracula's obviously nuts because he didn't turn Lisa into a vampire. That's what you do with people you care about. Just so... I don't know. For me, it's all obvious, At what point did he ask, hey, Lisa, do you want to become a vampire? And Lisa probably said no. That's the kind of vibe I got from her, is that she would be like, I'll live my mortal life. I wouldn't want to live forever. Especially if they had a son who was half and half. I don't know how long Adrian would live. Does he live forever because he's a vampire, or... That wouldn't make sense. I'm going to imagine that he has an extended life, but I don't know. I feel like he probably doesn't live forever. And so, especially if they have a child who isn't going to live forever, I would imagine that Lisa wouldn't want to live forever either. So, maybe he just asked her, with this whole consent thing. And she said no. There's going to be a story behind this.
I love my work.
I know you do. Are you prepared to abandon Dracula to win the war? My own forces will take the castle and unseat Dracula, going forward to control and surround the human race.
Okay, so Carmela's promise just now was to go around and surround the human race, which is basically more of a goal, more of what Hector has been wishing for, instead of kind of the slaughter that's been happening. I don't know. I'm not sure I buy the whole Dracula's just gonna kill Hector after he's done. Like, that doesn't seem... I don't know. That seems like a bit of an abrupt jump, seeing as Hector still wants to give Dracula the benefit of the doubt, about loving Lisa and all that stuff. And, like, they were friends. Like, he was friendly with Dracula, so... I don't know. I don't know if this is going to work.
Your forces alone may not be enough.
Brilliant, Hector. They may not be. Which is why you must do something for me.
I heard you moving across the sand. What brings you out here? You have need of my work.
Isaac and Dracula have a very different relationship from Hector and Dracula. Hector is, I don't know, I want to say he's kind of a submissive personality. Isaac, I love, is just like, what brings you here? Like, he challenges Dracula on his own terms, and he challenges him as an equal. He does not submit at all to this, vampire lord. He just, right away is like, I heard you. With the scene that we got with Hector's background, if I can remember correctly, you had Dracula entering the house, without Hector's permission, which is a vampire lore thing. Going and finding him in the bowels of his own home to, convince him, oh yes, it's going to be like a cult, it'll be merciful and all that stuff. Here from the get-go, you have Isaac being like, I heard you. What brings you here? Oh, you need me? Oh, you need me. Just like, of course you need me, It's a very different relationship. And I think that just because of that, they're probably, like, I don't know, possibly a little bit more on equal ground. Like, Isaac is definitely on Dracula's side when it comes to the way that the war is going. That's why Carmela isn't bothering to talk to him. The difference, I don't know. I think the difference really just does lay in the personalities, the backstories. Isaac got taught that love is pain and then has obviously isolated himself. Hector murdered his family, but continued to surround himself with pets. Like, he still wants... Maybe I'm just getting too deep in here, down the rabbit hole, but I feel like Hector still wants, like, love and approval. Whereas Hector, so Hector wants love and approval. He didn't get it from his parents. He killed them, but he's still, like, looking for that love and approval from someone. Isaac, it was almost like, well, he didn't get the love and approval from his parents, so he's looking for it somewhere else. Isaac got love from his master, who taught him that love is pain. So he's not looking for love and approval. He's looking for something very, very different. So Hector, in a way, is going to be looking for approval from anywhere he can get it. And I think that can be from Dracula. It might start being from Carmilla. You can tell the way that she just talks to him. The way that she talks to him sometimes is like she's talking to a dog, like she's talking to a pet. And then, she's, oh, very good, Hector. You came up with the most basic idea that you might need to make some nighthorde creatures for me. It was the most obvious thing with all those bodies sitting there, but it was such a good job of you putting that together. So, again, stoking that he's looking for love and affection and approval thing. Isaac isn't looking for that. And I think that puts him on better terms to deal with vampires.
Say the words, so I know you are still my friend.
And you saved me. The only person in the world who ever lifted a hand to protect me from anything.
I mean to end the human race.
And you want my help to do it. Do you remember my first words to you? Indulge me, Master Dracula, so that I may know you are still my friend.
All right, they are equals here. Isaac challenging him back. Say the words so I know you're still my friend, just as Dracula challenged him to recall how they met, so I'll know you're still my friend. And Isaac right away saying, this is not a war, you mean something else. He is not being duped. I mean, the more that I'm seeing out of this interaction, the more, it's like, Dracula, you screwed Hector over. What the heck, man? But Isaac's on this. He's on this. And as much as, I was saying that Hector is searching for love and affection, Isaac's like, oh, the only person who ever raised a hand to help me wasn't human. And so that's his loyalty right there, it's... He found someone, he's not going to go with love, but, if he goes with, a friend, if he goes with the concept of having a friend, and it's a very, very different relationship. And one that is Dracula holds Isaac above Hector. That much is obvious at this point. He is willing to tell him the truth. Even Isaac is kind of complicit in kind of lying to Hector at this point, because he knows the truth behind what this war is, and Hector's still going along with, it's just a call, Camilla, stop talking to me, it's a call, Dracula is just confused, it's they're both lying to him at this point.
I have no fear of death. It always sounded peaceful to me.
Let us begin.
And so Isaac saying that he has no fear of death, I can certainly believe that. So Carmilla is using, death as a threat against Hector, whereas Isaac is just I don't care if I die. I don't want my body to be split up and sold as an aphrodisiac, but I don't care if I die. That he just pauses with Hector and then just keeps going. He's gonna go find Isaac. Oh man, this is messed up. This is what is gonna break. This is what's gonna... So I don't think it's gonna be the reason, but when Hector does betray Dracula, I really will not be able to be angry with him at all over it. He's not being treated well by someone who claims to be his friend.
I have respect for Hector, but he's a gentle soul. He's still a little boy. To call humans back to a small population, he understands that.
That is partly my fault.
He's a child in a man's body. That does make him easy to lie to. Oh my god. So we're just straight up gonna walk past Hector, go to Isaac, and now we're gonna gossip about how Hector is just like a little boy in a grown man's body who just understands pets. He understands pets because he understands animals, and he understands animals because they've always given him affection, which is what you're not doing right now. They've given him affection and validation. What does your pet do? Your pet loves you. Even if it's a dead pet, your pet loves you. It gives you what Hector has lacked in his life, and yet you're gonna go and you're just gonna sit with Isaac and shit talk him, basically. Oh my god. Like, oh my god.
You've given me purpose and treated me with respect. A lie wouldn't change that.
So, Isaac, purpose and respect. I mean, I would say that, you know, lying to you doesn't really respect you, but that does show, you know, what Isaac wants out of this relationship more than other things. I think purpose, definitely. Respect is a big thing. It's like, I don't care about death, but I don't want my body to be hacked up and sold as parts. So yeah, I can get how respect is a big thing for him, but like I would say that lying to someone isn't a show of respect, but I guess it's different for him.
You, Isaac, are the only one I've told the truth to. Are you still my friend?
Always.
My dusty old sheet is big enough for two. And nobody was ever lonely in this house.
It's lonely even when you're standing next to him. But it's like he's a cold spot in the room. It's not like your sadness.
It's a cold spot in the room. I mean, I would go with, like, you know, he's a product of the circumstances. Your trio has been gathered so that you can go kill his father, and he just lost his mother. Talk about loneliness. I'm going to guess because it is self-made and purposeful. He doesn't want people to get close because I don't know. I want to finish this conversation.
His sadness is like an icy well. It's bottomless. And it swallows up your voice and anything you try to drop into it.
So Trevor is sad, obviously, because, you know, he lost his family, and that makes sense. And he's been wandering around, trying to not be a Belmont for a while. You know, that's a sad thing to do. It's gonna make you lonely. And he's got a bit of a callous personality, but I certainly got the idea he doesn't shun humanity, right? Like, he still went to that bar, and yes, it was full of, like, people who had sex with pigs and stuff, but, you know, if they'd been decent people, he would have been able to be a decent person back, you know? It's like when he met the sleepers and... the speakers, and was able to say, I've known speakers... I'm getting you out of here. Like, he was able to recognize that these were good people who were trying to do, you know, something good. And he would try to do right by them in his own way. So it's not like he has sworn off humans. It's just that this terrible thing happened that has led to him not being as social as he could have been. With Adrian, I'm still so iffy on like the timeline of him being born, because Lisa did not look like she'd raised like a 25-year-old son by the time that she got burned at the stake. So unless she aged really fine, but she didn't look any different from when she visited Dracula's castle the first time. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. But he lost his mother, and I'm gonna guess carries some guilt about not being there as well, because he could have stopped it. And Sypha has said that, you know, he is half human, he's more than half human. There's a personality, which is, you know, kind of sad the way that she just assumes that, like, vampires have no personality. But so he loses his mother. I'm gonna guess is dealing with some of the guilt of not being there, of not being able to save her. And then his father goes freaking insane. And so that's losing, like, when they had that conversation about how, you know, about how he, like, admired his father, you know, so it's not like he's just losing a father, he's losing someone who he looked up to, who he could have emulated. And who does he have left in the world, basically? Like, I know that Trevor is coming from nothing, but the fact that he is still able to make connections leads to the idea that he might have a future with people, right? Sypha is talking right here about how Adrian isn't able, she's not able to, like, make a connection with him because he is so closed off. So that leads to the idea that he has lost, in fact, everything and won't be able to ever get it back unless he changes in some way to stop being this sad well. I mean, I would hope that he's able to change in some way, so he's not just this sad well that sucks up any, like, human connection or vampire connection to anything. I don't know. Get this kid a puppy. I'm wondering if they're leading up to a Sypha Trevor romance here. I know I said that was the part of the triangle that was missing for me, but, you know, like how I said, Trevor's able to, you know, make new connections, and she's obviously one of them, you know. Adrian isn't able to make that same connection. I do wonder if he and Trevor actually, like, tried to, like, talk more, if that would work better, because I feel like Sypha and Adrian just hit each other on too similar. You know, like, they're both learned, and not that Trevor isn't learned, but, you know, it's like that they're interested in the same kind of things, you know, they want to have witty intellectual conversations about, you know, intellectual things, whereas, you know, Trevor and Alucard / Adrian are kind of like, yeah, well, you know, fuck you, you know, and that in itself is almost more human. But of course, because that is the nature of their conversations, they're not having those. And I wish they would.
We didn't need to hit Gracious right away, you know. And we should have been made aware that Alucard was under the Bloody City. It may be time for the old man to sit in his study and let the rest of us take care of this for him.
You would betray Dracula.
This isn't meaningful at all, but I would not be surprised if Godbrand just got offed by Isaac in this moment. Like, just chop his head off with your little whippy thingy. I know it has a name, but I can't remember at the moment.
Thank you for revealing to me how the corruption of the world has made its way into Dracula's court.
Oh my god, I was right. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay, the next one is called Last Spell. Boy. Yeah, man, that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't know. I mean, I'm interested to see where the rest of the season's gonna go, I guess. I mean, Hector just wants humans to be cold in an orderly way. Isaac just wants whatever the hell Dracula wants. Dracula wants humans to suffer, and he lied to Isaac. He lied to Hector, and he knows it. And it seems like he feels a little guilty over it, but in the end, Hector's just a child who likes his pets, so don't feel too guilty about it. His son is a mess. Vampires are openly revolting under Dracula by going into the towns and feeding. And I think Carmela does have Hector, actually. I think by now she doesn't have his loyalty, but I think that she's been able to talk him through to the idea that this is the best way to do the culling. When she's basically like, my army will be there, and then we'll surround the humans and trap them. You know, the way that he always envisioned this war was going to be. You know, the entrapment of humans, not the slaughter. And so she basically promises him what Dracula has failed to deliver on. I'm not sure if she realized that was what she needed to do right there, but it was what she needed to do. And so I think Hector is going to side with Carmela, and we'll see if Dracula and Isaac are enough, especially because we just have this rogue trio over here that includes, you know, Dracula's very, very powerful son who opposes the war, you know, so I don't know whether that trio is going to get like politically involved with what's going on with the war, or if they're just going to be like this rogue force that screws things up for everybody. I don't know how this is going to really, because we've got the three forces right now. The two forces within Dracula's castle who are warring against each other, basically headed Dracula versus Carmilla. And then we've got the trio over here who are opposed to actually everybody in the war. Just, you know, Adrian wants to, you know, stop the entire war because Lisa wouldn't have wanted it. So he is against, you know, both Carmilla's forces and Dracula's forces. Probably really doesn't want to have to kill his dad, but can recognize that his dad has probably gone mad. Has gone mad. That he probably will have to kill his father in order to stop the war. I wonder if he killed Dracula, would the other vampires just kind of disperse? Would they go back to their own lands and basically say, thank God, let's never have another reunion again? It's just not a good idea. I don't know. No, my bet is that Hector's going to do what Carmilla wants him to do because he's easily manipulated by anyone showing him any sort of affection or, like, appreciation. I don't know what Isaac will do. I don't know what the trio is going to do and how that's going to affect Dracula's forces. Like, so far this season, they really haven't done much. The focus has been on what's happening kind of behind the scenes of the war. So, I can try to, predict how the Camilla versus Dracula thing will play out, but I really can't because there's this rogue group over here currently, hiding out in a library, getting things that will help kill vampires. So, I guess we'll see. I guess that they will either be very influential or not influential at all. I hope they'll be influential, but I'm not sure whether it will be actually with the group that is, within the politics of Dracula's war. They might just, storm the gates and just, screw everything up for everyone, which would be kind of funny. But, yeah. Anyway, I guess I have to watch the next episode. I guess I need to finish this season. I don't know if they'll be able to wrap it up in this season. Maybe season 3 is where they wrap up the war. I don't know. It feels like there are a lot of things going on now. Although Godbrand is no longer one of them. But there's a lot of things going on, and there's a lot of, character arcs that have started. And I would love to see them, follow through on them. So, I feel like, Hector and Isaac have both been, pushed in a certain way. And I want to see where both of them go. And obviously, the trio are going in a certain way. I want to see where Dracula lands. Because he seems like he's, genuinely, bad. He feels bad about lying to Hector. But then he's also, it's your own fault, dude. When you go to Isaac and you're like, you're my only friend, it's like, maybe if you weren't lying to people, then, you would have more friends. You maybe if you took Hector aside and actually, gave him the respect that you give to Isaac and tell him the truth and then let him decide whether he wants to continue being your forge master. Maybe then you'd have another friend. I don't know. He just wants to be there with his pets so he can feel some kind of affection. It's so messed up. That whole conversation was so messed up. Just going to Isaac so that you can, talk about what a big baby Hector is, what a child. Anyway, my name is Kira. Sorry for the different, not showing much footage. It's a copyright thing, and I'm working with it. Channel's growing, so thank you for everybody who, likes and subscribes and all that stuff. I do have a Ko-fi now, so if you feel like supporting the channel financially, because I don't actually make much money, you can see my views aren't high. So if you do like the channel and would like to support me financially to keep doing this, I do have a Ko-fi link below in the description. But don't feel obligated or anything like that. Anywho, I hope you're all doing well wherever and whenever you are, and I will see you later. Bye.